Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Gora Premanandi. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajikacharya Ashtatara Satashishi Maharaj Divine Grace Aboy Charnar Vinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Iskon Samstapakacharya Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Gota Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasa Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shamakunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhana Ki Jai Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Navneet Mayapur Dham Ki Jai Neelachala Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai Dwarka Dham Ki Jai ISKCON Vancouver Burnaby New Gokula Dham Ki Jai Shri Shri Gornitai Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohana Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Madan Gopala Ki Jai Shri Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Sudarshan Chakra Ki Jai Gora Premanandi Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai Sankirtan Yaga Ki Jai Brihat Madanga Srila Prabhupada Transcendental Book Production Distribution and Scrutinizingly Studying Ki Jai ISKCON Samstapakacharya BBT Samstapakacharya His Divine Grace Aboy Charnar and the Bhaktivedanta Swami Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Ganga Maya Ki Jai Yamuna Maya Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Tulsi Devi Ki Jai Shama Veda Bhaktivinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Thank you for beautiful, sweet Madanga. That is the point. That's why there's no one. But I'd like to see at least one woman that's here. Don't go into the office because I will stroll out in that year because the demigods will demand it. I always think of that Jesus is called for 1, 2, 3. Yeah. I think this every day. Yeah, it's always good. That's amazing.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janabalaba Girvardhari Yashodanandana Brajjana Rajana Yashodanandana Brajjana Rajana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Bolo Jaya Gopi Janabalaba Girvardhari Bolo Yashodanandana Brajjana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajjana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Rama Rama Hare Hare Bolo Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya, Gurudev. Om Namo Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we'll just take 1 minute till the sound goes off. Pressing the wrong buttons. I don't know if there's any reception, but we are reading from the Srimad Bhagvatam, 10th canto, and today we're starting a new chapter, chapter 46, and we'll give a bit of an overview or what we can anticipate in this chapter. So we'll look at, we chant Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo, we chanted it already. So it's called Uddhava Visits Vrindavan. So we'll read the introduction. This chapter describes how Sri Krishna sent Uddhava to Braj to relieve the distress of Nanda, Yashoda, and the young gopis. One day, Lord Krishna asked his intimate friend Uddhava to take news of him to Braj and thus relieve his parents. And the calves jumping here and there as their mothers followed slowly behind, weighed down by their heavy milk bags. The cowherd men and women were chanting the glories of Krishna and Balaram, and the village was attractively decorated with burning incense, rows of lamps. All this presented a scene of exceptional transcendental beauty. If somebody can get me a touch of water, it'll add to our beauty too. Nanda Maharaj welcomed Uddhav warmly into his home. The cowherd king then worshipped him as none different from Lord Vasudev, fed him nicely, seated him comfortably upon a bed, and then inquired from him about the welfare of Vasudev and his sons Krishna and Balaram. Nanda asked, does Krishna still remember his friends, the village of Gokul and Govardhan Hill? He protected us from a forest fire, wind and rain, and many other disasters. By remembering his pastimes again and again, we are relieved of all karmic entanglement. And when we see the places marked by his lotus feet, our minds become fully absorbed in thoughts of him. Gargamuni told me that Krishna and Balaram have both descended directly from the spiritual world. Just see how they have so easily dispatched Kamsa, the restless, the elephant, Kuvalyapida, and many other demons. As Nanda remembered Krishna's pastimes, his throat choked up with tears, and he could speak no further. Meanwhile, as Mother Yashoda heard her husband speak of Krishna, the intense love she felt for her son caused a flood of milk to pour from her breast and a torrent of tears from her eyes. Seeing the super excellent affection of Nanda and Yashoda that they had for Sri Krishna, Uddhava commented, "You too are indeed most glorious. One who has attained pure love for the Supreme Absolute Truth in his human-like form has nothing further to accomplish. Krishna and Balaram are present in the hearts of all living beings, just as fire lies dormant within wood." These two lords see, all equally, having no particular friends or enemies. Free from egoism and possessiveness, they have no father, mother, wife, or children, are never subject to birth, and have no material body. Only to enjoy spiritual happiness and deliver their saintly devotees do they appear by their own sweet will among various species of life, both high and low. Lord Krishna is not merely the son of you, O Nanda and Yashoda, but the son of all persons, as well as their mother and father. In fact, he is everyone's dearest relation, inasmuch as nothing that is seen or heard in the past, present, or future among the moving or non-moving is independent of him. Nanda Maharaj and Uddhav passed the night talking about Krishna in this way. Then the cowed women performed their morning worship and began churning butter, singing the glories of Sri Krishna as they busily pulled the churning ropes. The sounds of churning and singing reverberated to the sky, cleansing the world of all inauspiciousness. When the sun rose, the gopis saw Uddhav's chariot at the edge of the cowed village, and they thought that the Krura might have returned. But just then, Uddhav finished his morning duties and presented himself before them. So this is the introduction. Now we'll together look at verse 1. Also has a long purport. Shri Shukvacha Vrishninam Pravaro Mantri Krishna's Daitya Saka Shishyo Brihaspate Shakshat Uddhava Bodhisatamaha Shishikuvacha Vrishninam Pravaro Mantri Krishna's Daita Sakha Shishyo Brihaspate Sakshat Uddhava Bodhisatamaha Shishikuvacha Vrishninam Pravaro Mantri Krishna's Daitaha Saka Shishyu Brihaspate Sakshat Uddhava Bodhisatamaha. Go ahead.
Shri Shukla Uvacha Vrishninam Pravaro Mantri Krishnasya Dhaita Sakha Shisho Brihaspate Shaksha Uddhava Bodhisatamaha.
Shri Sukha Uvacha
Shri Shukla Uvacha
Vrishninam Pravaro Mantri
Vrishninam Pravaro Mantri
Krishnasya Daita Saka
Krishnasya Dhaita Shaka
Shishyo Brihaspate Shakshat
Shishyo Brihaspate Shakshat
Davo Bodhisattva
Udavo Bodhisattamaha.
Number one.
46, 1, 10,
46. Yeah.
Shisuka Uvacha.
Krishnasya Daita Saka Shishyo Brihaspate Shakshat Davo Bodhisattva Shri Sukuvacha Krishnasya Daita Saka Shishyo Brihaspate Shakshat Davo Bodhisattva.
Everybody done from the temple? Okay, bro. Manu Babu.
Sri Sukha Uvacha Vrishninam Pravaro Mantri Krishnasya Dayitaha Sakha Shishyo Brihaspate Sakshat Uddhavo Buddhi Sattamaha.
Murari Prabhu and Nitakshwari Mataji.
Sri Sukha Uvacha, Sri Sukha Uvacha, Vrishninam Pravaro Mantri, Vrishninam Pravaro Mantri, Krishnasya Dayita Sakha, Krishnasya Dayita Sakha, Shishyo Brihaspate Sakshat, Shishyo Brihaspate Sakshat, Uddhavo Buddhi Sattama, Uddhavo Buddhi Sattama.
Lucian Prabhu.
Sri Shuka Uvacha Vishnam Pravaro Mantri Krishnasya Dayataha Saka Shishya Brashpatehe Saksad Uddhava Buddhi Satamaha.
Usha Mataji.
Sri Sukha Vacha Vrishninam Pravaro Mantri Krishna Shedayate Sakha Shishyo Braspate Sakshat Uddhavo Buddhi Sattama.
Siri Sukha Uvacha Vrishninam Parvaro Mantari Krishnasya Dayita Sakha Shishya Braspati Saksa Uddhavo Buddhi Satmaha. On to Radhike Mata Sri Hare Krishna.
Yes, we'll take a look at the word for word now. Sri Shukavacha, Shukadev Goswami said, Vrishninam, of the Vrishnis, Pravaraha, the best, Mantri, advisor, Krishnasya, of Krishna, Daitaha, beloved, Sakha, friend, Sishaha, disciple, Brihaspatehe, of Brihaspati, the spiritual master of the demigods, Sakshat, directly, Uddhava, Buddhi, having intelligence, Sattamaha, of the highest quality. Translation. Shukadev Goswami said, the supreme intelligent Uddhava was the best counselor of the Vrishni dynasty, a beloved friend of Lord Shri Krishna and a direct disciple of Brihaspati. Please repeat. Shukadev Goswami said, the supreme intelligent Uddhava was the best counselor of the Vrishni dynasty. Beloved, there's a big echo now, please. I don't know why this is touched. Now the echo is way too much. Jai Govinda? A beloved friend of Lord Shri Krishna, it's too much. It was perfect before. A beloved friend of Lord Shri Krishna and a direct disciple of Brihaspati. Now, if I stay away from the machines. Purport. The Acharyas give various reasons why Lord Krishna sent Uddhav to Vrindavan. The Lord had promised the residents of Vrindavan, Ayashe, I shall return. Bhagavatam 10, 39, 35. Also, in the previous chapter, Lord Krishna promised Nanda Maharaj, Drashtum Eshamaha, we will come back to see you and Mother Yashoda. Bhagavad 10, 45, 23. At the same time, the Lord could not break his promise to Sri Vasudeva and Mother Devaki to finally spend some time with them after they had suffered for so many years. Therefore, the Lord decided to send his intimate representative to Vrindavan in his place. The question may be asked, why did Krishna not invite Nanda and Yashoda to visit him in Mathura? According to Srila Jiva Goswami, for the Lord to have exchanged loving feelings with Nanda and Yashoda in the same place and at the same time that he was exchanging with them with Vasudeva and Devaki would have created an awkward situation in the Lord's pastimes. Thus, Krishna did not invite Nanda and Yashoda to stay with him in Mathura. The residents of Vrindavan had their own way of understanding Krishna, and their feelings could not have been appropriately expressed on a regular basis in the kingly atmosphere of Mathura. Sri Uddhava is described in this verse as Buddhi Satamaha, the most intelligent, and thus he could expertly pacify the residents of Vrindavan who were feeling such intense separation from Lord Krishna. Then, upon his return to Mathura, Uddhava would describe to all the members of the Vrishni dynasty the extraordinary pure love he had seen in Vrindavan. Indeed, the love the cowherd men and gopis felt for Krishna was far beyond anything the Lord's other devotees had ever experienced. And by hearing about that love, all the Lord's devotees would increase their faith and devotion. As stated in the third canto by the Lord himself, Nolavo Anvyapi Man Yu Naha. Uddhava is not even slightly different from me. Resembling Lord Krishna so much, Uddhava was the perfect person to carry out the Lord's mission in Vrindavan. In fact, Sri Harivamsa states that Uddhava is the son of Vasudeva's brother, Devabhaga. Uddhava Devabhaga Sha Mahabhagaha Sutta Abhavat. In other words, he's a cousin, brother of Shri Krishna. Om Gyana Timanandasha Kenandina Silakya Chakshiru Militam Dinam Tasmaya Shri Gurave Namaha. So we're standing in the darkness of ignorance, but our spiritual master has opened up our eyes with the torchlight of knowledge, especially by daily reading and hearing and chanting and association. So this chapter is very, very interesting, and I will say extremely confusing. You might think it's a very simple chapter, but it's most confusing because when you read actually one verse after another, you don't have to be a devotee to become confused. You read it, it says, for instance, that Uddhava came to pacify the inhabitants and tell them very quickly, I'm going to return. And then he said, but Krishna doesn't have any children. He doesn't have a father and mother. He is not an ordinary person. He's a supreme personality of Godhead. And it goes on within one shloka, the same thing that he says he's coming to pacify you, because he said, I will return very shortly. Ayasha. And then the complete opposite. Krishna doesn't have any affection for anyone in particular. So he starts preaching. So this preaching is very charming, but unless you carefully analyze it, it's also quite bewildering, because Uddhav's relation with Sri Krishna, he is like his, what do you call it? What do you call the lawyer in Hindi again? What do you call lawyer in Hindi? What is it? Vakil, yeah. He's like the vakil, you know. So, and Krishna says, you go, I cannot go. I promised I would come back, but on my behalf, you can go. First of all, why does he send Uddhav? For instance, why Uddhav in particular?
Because Rupa looks like Krishna.
Looks exactly like Krishna. They're cousins. They're from the same genes, you can say, and they have same complexion. And he wears a yellow dhoti. He probably carries a flute himself. We should also remember, Krishna is not the only one who carries a flute. As a matter of fact, there's tens of thousands of flutes in Braj, because this is how they control the cows, is by flute calling, you see. But at the same time, Krishna is really the only flautist. He is, what is it called in Sanskrit, Krishna's name as a flute carrier? Venudar. Yeah, Venudar or Vamsidar. He is Vamsidar. When I say Vamsidar, I don't think of 10,000 others who carry a flute, but he is that one, you see. So the word that I decided to use, it's used, I think later on, either in a purport or in one of the verses that I wanted to draw your attention to. It's called Vilakshana. So V, whenever, what does Lakshan mean? Basically, it has the word Aksha. What does Aksha mean? I. So to see. So Lakshan means evidence. Huh? Now, Vilakshana, when I use V, or we can say in English B if you want, bisexual, V, bi, or vi. So what does that mean? Two. Yeah, two. Yeah, it's divided. So the meaning is already changing, you see? The meaning is changing. I'm dividing it. So Vilakshana has, if you look it up in the dictionary, it has two different meanings. It can mean, first of all, to obtain evidence. You obtain evidence by you using, let's say, your senses or your logic or whatever you want to use. And it has another meaning, the exact opposite, to become confused. So it's just like I say many times when I give a talk to an audience and I introduce Sanskrit, then I often say, you know, Sanskrit is a very amazing language, because there might be a word that has 2, 3, 4, or 100 meanings, but it also may have its opposite meaning. So when I say cold, it may also mean warm, you see, because what's cold in one place is warm in another. Huh? What is white in one place is black in another. Like what is white in one place and black in another? Look at this gentleman's cloth. When does it become black? And yeah, when it's pitch dark. When it's pitch dark, then the cloth appears like a black, like he's dressed in black, which would be very unacceptable. I remember one time coming to Vrindavan, I came with a new Bhaktin. She's not a Bhaktin, but, you know, kind of follower of myself. And we just came from, you know, Canada. I think we both were kind of dark clothes, maybe kind of black clothes. I usually have a black coat. And one person at the place where I was teaching, Jiva Institute, was so upset. He says, how do you dare wear black clothes in Vrindavan? He said, well, we just came from North America. So we were following certain rules. So what is apropos in one place is not apropos in another, you see. So this word then, vilakshana, is that Krishna creates confusion. So I make so many notes, but I'll just dive in the middle of some of the notes. So it says, like for instance, many people ask this question, why does God create this world? Now, I'm not going to ask any of you to give an answer. You know, you can say one small answer. Anybody can say half a phrase. Why does God create this world?
Reformation.
Reformation? Okay, good. Anything else? Okay, so many things. So it says, actually, this is from the Satsandarbha, Jiva Goswami Satsandarbha. It says, why does Krishna come to this planet? No, why does Krishna create the world? It says, and it uses an analogy. Just as the madman, when he's completely intoxicated with joy, let's say, starts dancing, but he doesn't think, now I'm going to dance. He's not thinking by the movement. So the Supreme Lord creates this world just out of absolute spontaneity. There's no thing, he doesn't think about it. He creates it out of spontaneity. How do you like that? Because that answers actually many questions, because all the other answers, they're always, you can find always what you call the Purva Paksha. You can always. So it did happen by chance. Yeah, it did. He's just, there it is. There it is, achanak. What you say in Hindi? Achanak? Malega. There it is suddenly in front of you. So, and then it says, so that was comparing it to a madman dancing. Then, when I was, researching all this material, I also read another one about a madman dancing. So I want to I want to connect these two together so you can see. What did I say? A madman dancing. Oh yeah, when a mad person dances and is twirling around, and you're looking at the earth, what does the earth look like? I'm sure it's not the first time you experienced it. It looked like the earth is moving. The earth is twirling under your eyes. You are twirling, but it appears like the earth is twirling. So in Mahamaya, where we are mistaken. Everything that is happening, and we're seeing it as reversed. That is the whole point. We're seeing everything as reversed and what it is. So personalities like Uddhava, they're trying, I shouldn't say they're trying to, there's somebody in our association always says Krishna's trying to do something. And I object. I said, hey, Krishna's not trying. Maybe you are trying to understand. But Uddhava is, he is sent to try and pacify the inhabitants of Braj. Okay? So does he satisfy them in the end? What is your opinion? Are they happy? Actually, if you start reading the first few verses of the next chapter, they're furious. The gopis are furious. When they see in the morning, because at night the gopis were not aware that Krishna was there, but in the morning when they start all their activities, then suddenly they see the chariot and they think, what is the driver's name of the chariot? Daruka. Yeah, Daruka. They think, oh, Daruka has come and brought Krishna back. And so they rush to the chariot. Then for a moment, and from a slight difference, they see that looks like Krishna's right there, yellow dhoti, the whole thing. And then suddenly they see that it is not Krishna. And before Uddhav even has a chance to talk, they are furious. They're furious. What do you think of this? So this is because in this, and then of course you have one of the most famous chapters in the Bhagavad. What is it called? You can say in English. Yeah, that's I'm introducing it, 47. It's the talking of the bee, the kata of the bee, where the gopis are saying, hey, you're just like a bee, Krishna, you go flower to flower, you suck out whatever you want, and then you don't belong to any flower. So you're just like this, you sucked all of us, and then you left, and you don't care for any of us. And if they had heard what Uddhav was saying the night before at the house of Nanda, they would have become even more furious. Because they have to listen to the catechism that Krishna is just taking a two-armed form for a few minutes to charm maybe himself or others, but actually he's the Supreme Personality of God. He's Narayan. He's Vasudev. He's whatever you want to call, but he's not available to even material senses. So it's they would be not happy. So they are not there for that kata, just like Jiva Goswami, when he composes the Gopal Champu, Gopal Champu. In the morning, there's in the actual globe, not Brahma globe, but the actual Param Dhaman globe, when there's a talk about what happened in the other globe, in the morning, Jiva Goswami has the two reciters speak to a common audience. All kinds of people are there, father, mother, brothers, sisters, cousins, tens of thousands are there. But at night, who does he speak to? The gopis, a very select audience. And Krishna himself comes only with one or two friends, maybe Madhu Mangala, to keep him amused and like this. So completely different audience, a very different talk. So here then, Uddhava is sent. Why is he sent particularly? What is the reason that he was sent and not someone else? It says right in the verse. Does it say in the verse? Yeah. Uddhava, Buddhi Satamaha. He was the most intelligent. So he was the only one that could convey a message that is not really amenable to the material senses. He's giving this type of, you can say, explanation why Krishna hasn't come back yet. And of course, he says in one sentence, he will come very soon because he promised he's coming very soon. And the next sentence he says, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He lives in everybody's heart. He's not available to anybody. It's quite amazing. And nobody, at least according to the narrative we're reading, nobody objected to it. What do you think of this? In the audience, when he is speaking, nobody objected. And Motherji showed us this was so overwhelmed, she couldn't even speak. Now, Nanda Maharaj could speak, but they were just listening. And then in the morning, he talks to the gopis, they react to him by talking to a bee, and then he leaves and he tells Krishna, yeah, everybody's okay. Everybody's quite all right, don't worry. Huh? So what is also beautiful, that it gives the excuse that Krishna has to stay in Mathura to satisfy his father and mother because they suffered so much. But what is the joke? How long does he stay? Doesn't 3 days. It's a complete joke. So if you read this, you should make a little footnote. Oh, really? And then he goes to Sandapani Muni school, and then before you know it, he goes to Dwarka. He disappears, and then he marries how many queens? You see? So it's very, very, if you don't look very carefully at the plot, then you will be astonished. So all of this, of course, is there for a reason. And the reason is for us, because this Bhagavatam is not written for the gopis. Who's it written for?
The audience.
Yeah, for me and you. It's for us to learn the catechism. How is it that a person called Krishna, who is never mentioned in the Vedas, he's not a Vedic god like Indra, Brahma, Shiva. How come this Puranic god, this Puranic historic person is to be understood as God? That is what is to be learned from these stories. And if we don't understand that, we'll also be bewildered. You ask somebody, how is it that Krishna is God? How is it that Krishna is God? It's because it says Krishna does not fully reveal himself in literature until the Puranas. But where can you understand that Krishna is actually God throughout? Where do you find that evidence? Where's the Praman? Where? But that's just a line. It means nothing to me. I can read so many lines, so many. If you talk to the followers of Shiva, they say Shiva is God, and the person who adores Shiva is Krishna, right? And in Vaishnavism, we say, oh, Shiva is very nice, he adores Krishna. You see, it's completely reversed. So what is it? Bhagavad Gita, exactly. If you Bhagavad Gita from the Mahabharata is more, Krishna establishes himself as the original person, Bhagavan. And also, and of course, the three most famous, you can say, religious texts. Does anybody know what they are? What is the most famous religious text in the world? Obviously, it's the Bible. No, it's not the Bhagavad Gita. It's the Bible. The Bible is most read. Then, no.
Quran.
Believe it. No, it's Lao Tzu. The Lao Tzu's classic. And then Bhagavad Gita is the third. It's the third. Yeah. So, but the point is that it is so famous, when it first was presented in English, I don't know, almost 200 years ago, it was presented in English, and it was brought to America, and some of the, what you call, I use a phrase that you might like, quote unquote, the Boston Brahmins, BB, the Boston intellectuals, they got hold of this literature. They were completely amazed by it. And look, if you want evidence for that, it's of course back at the Gita. Let's look at it again. Here's some of the Boston Brahmins. I owed a magnificent day to the Bhagavad Gita. It was the first of books. It was as if an empire spoke to us, nothing small or unworthy, but large, serene, consistent, the voice of an old intelligence, which in another age and climate had pondered, and thus disposed of the same questions which exercised us now. I mean, this is Emerson. This is Emerson. So the Americans were amazed, and they made it famous. They actually made it famous by these type of, and Thoreau, in the morning I bathe my intellect in the stupendous and cosmogonal philosophy of Bhagavad Gita, in comparison which our modern world and its literature is puny and trivial. So can you see? So they're putting down the Bible and they're elevating this because it's such incredible literature. Even not just the philosophy, but the story. Can you imagine on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Krishna starts talking, 700 verses, and he shows there's a universal form, not only to Arjuna, but also others who are privy to this. And then again, he picks up the reins of the horses, and at night, what does Krishna do at night when he's at Kurukshetra? He's in the stable, cleaning up. What does he clean up after the horses? The feces of the horses. Krishna cleans the stable. What do you think of that for God? And he showed himself as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So it's astonishing. Therefore, Arjuna says, no, don't show this to me. I can't relate to that. That's the God you are? We're used to joke. We sit on the bed and we're joking. Huh? Just like Krishna jokes with Mother Mangala. Some of the jokes are a little suggestive sometimes. Mother Mangala always jokes. Arjuna jokes. So which God do we really adhere to? That God with whom we are joking and sitting on the bed, or that God who shows his universal form? Which God do we relate to? Anyone?
Sitting on the bed.
Exactly. Ultimately, yes, because if it's not personal, then when there's no ras, right? Ras means taste. When there's no ras, then all this knowledge, quote unquote, something we call it gyan, only one meaning of gyan, but this cognizant knowledge is not charming. I can prove that Krishna is God. I can also prove with my intelligence that Krishna is not God. But to sit on the bed and share, what do you say, chai, so to speak, that is my relationship with the Supreme. Does that make sense? Which one do you want? Awe and reverence or personal? Yeah, we want personal. So Prabhupada introduced all of this by giving a touch of awe and reverence. The deities are to be seen in a mood of awe and reverence. I don't go up to Krishna and say, oh, let me adjust your whatever it is, your turban. I don't like the way this pujari did it. Come here, let me fix it. But somebody who's totally in ecstasy might actually want to fix something or sees it differently, you see. So Prabhupada gave us this mood of awe and reverence. What is that mood called? From which city? But from which city did Krishna live with his wives? Which city did Krishna live in with all his wives? In Dwarka. So this is the mood of Dwarka, where there's a certain amount of awe and reverence. Krishna is like a royalty. This is not the mood of Braj, where Krishna's full of dirt. It says sometimes he comes home at night and the gopis are describing Krishna as his face is white. Why is his face white? Just covered with dust. So can you imagine God covered in dust? And his mother has to run a bath? And he has all these servants cleaning him and washing him and fixing him. And then they put on more white stuff. What do you call this? What you put on your face to keep you cool? Sandalwood, yeah. So, there's infinite varieties. So our mood is to have relationship with Krishna in infinite variety, not particularly awe and reverence. But in order to learn about Krishna, we first have to understand awe and reverence. And we have to use our intelligence. It's like Govinda says, study the scriptures scrutinizingly. Because if you study it scrutinizingly, you'll find all kinds of evidence that Krishna is God. You also will be nonplussed that how is Krishna God? So there's a kind of disbelief, but not a disbelief that makes you give it up, but you are astonished. And what is again the word I always use in every talk? Astonishment word in Sanskrit? Chamatkar. If you look that word up, chamatkar is the main emotion that we have toward Krishna and his pastime is astonishment. It cannot be spoken. That's why one of the famous scriptures, a Chinese scripture, the Tao, it says that which can be spoken, that path or that Godhead or that deity of whom we can speak, that is not the actual Godhead. Because when we speak on a level, it's on this level. But Krishna is really unspeakable. But on the highest level, we have small conversation, So these narratives give us all these variegated emotions we can have towards Krishna, and they're all individual. Just like we all have individual DNA, nobody has the same DNA as anybody else. So our relationship with Krishna is absolutely unique. This is why we don't fault find others for having slightly different mood or different focus, or, just like today I was, by chance, I was looking at Tripurari Maharaj's magazine called The Harmonist, because he gave some very good reference of Jiva Goswami. And he was at the beginning of his presenting, Krishna consciousness, etc. He says, we also represent it from our point of view, but it doesn't mean that we step down on everybody else's point of view. Just like Prabhupada often calls Shankaracharya an impersonalist, but we're always quoting Shankaracharya. That is Vedanta. And we are Vedantins. We just added a little adjective. What kind of Vedantin? What kind of Vedantin are we? Bhakti Vedantins. That's the whole point. So just an adjective. We are Vedantins, but we are Bhakti Vedantins. So we have to look very intelligent at these beautiful scriptures. I would have said, at least 90% more. I made so many notes. But the charm is vilakshana. Either be confused, like some of you might be confused by what we say. That's very good, because that confusion will ultimately lead to the humor that you give up all this thinking and arguing and counter argument and pro argument. And actually, when you chant in dance and sing, Krishna reveals himself to you in the heart, Hridaya. So this is the best way. That's one of the reasons I joined. I didn't join, of course, I joined also because I read a particular article by Dr. Kapoor, Prabhupada's godbrother, that really enticed me. He wrote an article about Braj Dhaman. It was incredible. Back to Godhead in somewhere in the 70s. It really caught my heart. You can look it up. You see, but so that was only to attract me. Very incredible description of Braj Dhaman. Very incredible. But singing, dancing, sharing, share bliss. What do we say? The Sanskrit for share bliss, Dayananda. Da means to give. What do you give? To each other, we give Ananda. So we say Dayananda, Om Tat Sat. May we all be delighted by that. Yes. We have 2 minutes. Go ahead. Please, you sit close.
Spend 2 minutes glorifying your class. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
I see you speaking, giving lectures, not intellectuals of the field of religion.
I'm working on it.
Like this. Thank you. You mentioned that the topmost evidence of Krishna's God.
Yes.
Bhagavad Gita,
Brilliant.
Krishna says he's in everyone's heart. He's the source of knowledge.
Yes.
God of all God. Material, spiritual.
Exactly.
It goes on and on and on and on. Yet, so many people read Bhagavad Gita, translate Bhagavad Gita, and they don't get the point that Krishna is the supreme person. Why is that?
Why is that? Because I gave the idea earlier. Intellectual realization will not give you a taste. There's no taste. Yeah? The cognizance, by just manipulating your mind and using logic like nyaya, it's in the end, it's sickening because there's always a counter argument to every argument ad nauseum. But if you want, you can enter into it immediately by, I can say Nam Bhajan. Nam Bhajan gives you the evidence right away. Like how come so many people join chanting Hare Krishna in the park and people come? And they cannot explain why. Then it's not because they have argument. They say, this is my life. And that is the point. And that is the unspeakable. Isn't that beautiful? Shabda Brahman. Nam Bhajan. Yeah, it's confirmed. The reason why all of us stay, we're not staying by argument. We actually have a taste. Every day we have a little taste. Sometimes a little distaste, and then we quickly correct it and, swab, taste. Where does taste come from? From liquidity. That is ras. So we taste ras. Then we have rupa, form, gandha, smell, shabda. Yes. Yes.
why is it that
We don't prioritize it. We do not prioritize it. That's the whole point. We say, Atato Brahma Jignasa. Or we as human beings, because we are under the influence vilakshana. We think that our brain will give us the answer. And never. How come there's millions of answers to what is reality? Look at physics. You see? All these coming up with new theories all the time. But now they're coming very close and they start believing that actually there is spirit, there is consciousness which cannot be analyzed with any kind of apparatus, So this is the point. So it's that we don't need to study anything. You can have the experiences by chanting. And of course, by proper behavior with Vaishnavas, Karsnavas. Very simple, very simple. We study because we want to be misled, in a sense. You see what I mean? Prabhupada said, why don't we go back home, back to God? He says, actually, you like it here. You're in denial. You actually like it. You think, yeah. When I get older, I'll I'll focus more on my chanting, you know. Right now I've got to focus on whatever, becoming famous, rich, satisfied. So we fool ourselves. Yes. Any other questions? If not, yeah, if there's any questions online, and if nobody has, I have a very brilliant point that I didn't make. This, okay, 1 second. This chapter 46, guess what it's all about? Dainika. And Dainika means deha. What does deha mean? Body. This is all about bodily relationships. You know, my cousin, my father, my mother, my uncle, my la 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 la. It's Dainika. But when you're fooled by it, then you can understand that it's the bodily relationships are actually the actual relationship you have with Krishna. So if you see it on the bodily form, that's one thing. If you see it on the spiritual bodily form, you got it. That's the point. The spiritual bodily form is real. Look, Prabhupada's example of, you know, transcended body. Yes, Manu, we have 2 minutes.
Hare Krishna Mataji, nice class. And especially I like the motherly love of Yashoda Mai on hearing her milk came out.
Yes.
Mamata a mother has towards the child, even after so many years. That's what was amazing in this.
It is amazing. And this is so many times it is said, of course, and you already understand why. They say, why is the Ganga white? It's the exudance of Mother Yashoda's breast milk the minute she thinks of Krishna. Why is the Jamuna black? The gopis crying when the mascara runs from their eyes.
Wow.
You see, everything is related to emotion, the entire landscape. That is the way. Thank you very much. We shall all, if anybody interested, come to our Gopal Champu class tonight at 7. Radhe Radhe. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yes,
Thank you.
thank you very much. Now let me out of these clutches of contemporary.
Okay. We thank the Mahamantra, the benefit of all the living entities in the world, especially for our new temple construction. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Avakara Kamalavarana Kam Adbhuta Shringam Dalita Diranya Kashipu Tanibrindam Keshava Dirtan Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadishari Jai Jagadishari Jai Jagadishari Jai Narsingadev 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 Jai Prahlad Mara Prahlad Mara Prahlad Mara Prahlad Mara Prahlad Mara Jai Prabhupada 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 Prabhupada. May their lordships Shri Radha Madana Mohanam Radha Madana Gopal Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadramaya, Sudarshan Bhagwan, Narsinga Bhagwan, Prahlad Maharaj, Gauranitai, Panchatattva, Tulsi Maharani, Guru Parampara, and Srila Prabhupada. Bless all of us so that we'll be fit and fine and serve them wherever we are, especially come together to build a wonderful new temple here as soon as possible. Have mercy, have mercy, have mercy on all of us. Bless us, bless us, bless us. Thank you all of you for joining morning program. Have a wonderful day. Hare Krishna.